What does survival look like? What does survival cost you? What does survival look like once the crisis has ended? In Pachinko by Min Jin Lee, the men in this book somewhat collapse. They grow silent. They disappear just a little bit. But the women in this amazing book, they carry everyone. This is the Literary Tailor, where we have great books that inspire even better conversations. Today, I want to talk about Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. This amazing book follows 5 families through 5 generations. But today, I want to talk about the women. The women in this amazing book carry the story even more organically, more fresh, and more of a heart, as well as the men in this book. But I think the women deserve to be discussed, and that's why I decided to talk about the women in this episode. Before I start talking about some of the women, I want to talk about Sanja real quick. Sanja is the matriarch of this amazing book. She's the main character, if you can say that. We follow her from her birth until she's elderly, almost like 80 or 70 by the end of this book. We follow her as she moves away from a fishing town in Korea all the way to a new life in Japan. We follow her from a young girl to a mother and to a grandmother. But her life has a lot of tragic turns into it, unfortunately. We follow her through these events, but we can always inspire by her because she never wavers. She always continues putting the best foot forward when her life takes a sharp turn that makes a lot of people want to quit. But Sanja just keeps on going. This is just one example, one quick example of the women in this amazing book. So let's get into talking about Pachinko, and let's do it right now. Kanji is the easiest woman to miss in Pachinko, and that's the point. When we first meet Kanji, she's the sister-in-law of Sanja, and the sister-in-law of Sanja's first husband, Isaac. Well, her only husband. She's the wife of Isaac's brother, Yajba. She's a very important woman. She's a very nice woman. She takes in a frightened Sanja from the moment she meets her. When Sanja just moved from Korea into a new world in Japan. Sanja didn't even know what this new life would entail, and she was also pregnant by another man. Of course, her sister-in-law didn't even know this point. She didn't know that Sanja had been impregnated by a different man, a man that was actually married at the time of this meeting. But this doesn't even bother Kanji when she finds out the truth. She remains fierce loyal to Sanja from the moment she meets her. And this loyalty just something says a lot about this woman that makes me so admire her from the moment I met her, or read into her in this book. She doesn't complain. She doesn't back away from any challenges. She continues following through each day with a smile on her face. Even when her husband is badly burned, is going through his own identity crisis, she never leaves his side. She even has an opportunity to become involved with another man, but she does not want to leave her husband's side, even when he makes her life a little too hard at times. She remains loyal to him, Sanja, and Sanja's children that she treats as her own. She's always buying gifts. She's always making food for both Noah and Moza, Sanja's sons. But her silence is just a strategy to continue living in this harsh world for her. In this harsh world that is already harsh for women as well as men, but these women have to endure even a lot more. They're in a traditional role. They're supposed to be serve the men, and she does this as the best as she can, as well as continuing her own life, her own uh, character arc, if you will. She continues doing this every day from the moment we meet her in this book. Her price that she gives, she's able to give away. I don't know if that would be the best way to say it, but her price in all of this is being vulnerable. She doesn't allow herself to be vulnerable at times. Even as mentioned, it provided a lot of difficulties. She continues doing this no matter what. For Kanji, this idea of always providing something for this family, this new family she gains when Saja and her kids, her sons, enter this new picture of hers, she takes this opportunity as a growing point to continue being a backbone for this family when all she really does is really stay silent, but she's this backbone that always remains consistent throughout the story, which tells you about her strength, both mostly internal strength. She provides all the meals in this family. She provides it with a great smile on her face every day. She makes sure that Sandra and her sons are always happy or provided for at the best that she can provide them with. She's the architect of this household, so she's in charge of this household while her husband is at work. And this is my cat if you haven't figured it out. But she's always remaining consistent, which I think is a way to describe her. She's always moving, she's always in the kitchen, she's always providing for someone, whether it be her husband or Sandra and her children, and maybe a little bit of Isaac, her husband's brother. And she remains even with this family, with Sandra, even when her Isaac, Sandra's husband, later ends up dying after being in prison for just practicing his own religion. I know it's a tough world, I wasn't kidding. But Kanji, what the author does with this character is provide a idea that she counts, Kanji, and that she will always count, even when she feels invisible to the readers. She always counts in every other way. Kanji is what happens when a woman's strength is so consistent, so quiet, so total that the people around her mistake her for furniture. As mentioned, I really love this book, and I think you would like it as well. In the description below, I provided links for an audiobook, the ebook, and the physical book. I personally recommend the physical book because I don't think anything beats an actual physical book in your hand. So if you want to read a copy of this amazing book, click the link below and get a copy for your own, because I know you'll love this book as much as I do. Every story has someone paying an original price. In Pachinko, that's Sandra's mother. That is Yajin. If you want to continue having these discussions, or you enjoy my content, I also have started a podcast called the Literary Tailor Podcast. It's on Spotify or on YouTube right here. On that, I provide new episodes every Tuesday morning, talking about books even more. Yajin is the kind of mother, the kind of woman that carries the shame, that carries this burden that her children shouldn't have to. And she takes all that burden by herself. And she never asks, not even once, to be thanked for it. This is the woman that this book almost buries under Sandra's story. Don't let it. Some women in Pachinko carry what was done to them, But one woman named Itsuko carries what she cannot undo. When she arrives in this story, she's involved with a man that just lost his first wife, his son's mother. So she just takes on a role. She steps in his shoes in an already turmoiled in a tragic event. But she does the best that she can, despite her children and other people in her life wishing this relationship never happened. Her children don't even want to talk to her. That's how bad a woman is already going through these events when she first meets Moza and later Solomon. But she doesn't, again, all these women hold such a burden of shame and everything else, but they never waver. But for her, she never questions enough. She doesn't get enough credit. Not because she isn't worth it, but because the grief doesn't do the math. Her daughter becomes very toxic in this family, if you will. She doesn't know how to control her daughter. Her daughter becomes very much involved in the nightlife. She, I guess you can think of Jenny from Forrest Gump, then you get her daughter. She becomes a stepmother to Solomon, and Solomon does later on very loves her as a stepmother. It even treats her as a mother figure. And Moza, that's Solomon's father, becomes definitely builds this relationship. It was a slow burn because, as mentioned, his first wife died in an accident. So to have another woman enter his life so almost soon creates a waiver of loyalty, I guess you could say, because now he's still grieving for his first wife, but this new woman enters the picture that continues life for him, I guess you can say. It gives him another opportunity to have a relationship with another woman, to have a mother figure in his own son's life. So for this woman, just to enter this new picture, this new family, also tells us, the readers, that she's very adaptable in a way, in a very much a way. She carries this burden, but she continues to throw it behind her and to continue to adapt to the surroundings. Etsuko's guilt is layered deep. Almost when you think another layer, there's not another layer, there's even more layer of guilt within her. She tries to love everyone, her children, Solomon, Moses, and Moses' own family. She tries to love everyone. And for the most part, she's successful, except when it comes to her children, who, like mentioned, really don't want a life with her, don't want anything to do with her. She doesn't even reunite with her daughter much until, a tragic event happens for her daughter. Lee, the author, doesn't punish her, but she doesn't rescue her either. She continues to experience this guilt, this event of shame, this pain that she has to internalize. The author just doesn't rescue her, because I think there's something to say about experiencing your own grief, but also digging your own self out of this grief, out of this shadow, out of this pitiful event that you need to find yourself and pull yourself out. And that's what this woman does in this book. She doesn't let all these events cloud her, doesn't allow her to make poor judgments. It just makes her allow her to figure out ways to do better, I guess you can say. And she does this as her relationship with Solomon continues to grow as a mother and son relationship. She is really a very hard and good character to read about. Etsuko is the proof that sometimes The cruelest thing a story does to a woman, even to a man, is give them a role that was never going to fit and make her carry it anyway. Every wound has to land somewhere. In Pachinko, it lands on Hannah. Hannah, when we first meet this woman in Pachinko, she's already running from a fire that she can't escape. She can't outrun this fire, no matter how fast, how quick she runs. She just can't run away. She doesn't know the fire's name. She doesn't know the shame, the guilt. She doesn't know where this all comes from. She just is caught in the crosshairs of it. And that's the tragic thing for this character. She just doesn't know she's burning. And no matter how far she runs, this fire just gets bigger. A lot of characters, men and women in this book, have a very devastating story, a character arc. I don't think there are as many as tragic as Hannah's. Hannah, as mentioned, is very self-destructive from the moment we meet her. She doesn't like her mother as much. She doesn't really like Moses. And she really doesn't see Solomon except as a on and off relationship, if you can say that. She becomes more involved with the nightlife as she continues growing within the story. She becomes a very alcoholic person, and she becomes a little too easy, if you can say, in the nightlife as well. She involves with the self-destruction. She knows where this all will lead to her. She knows that this path will lead her to an early grave. But she knows this. She knows that this path has that only one option, that only one way. But she continues doing these self-destructive things. Night in and night out, she's drinking and partying it up. She continues this throughout the story. Because deep down, she feels like she wants to die. Hannah isn't just a failure as the author writes her to be. She's the compound element of all the consequences, all the choices that these characters make throughout this story. Lee doesn't write her as a failure. She's just the reckoning of all the events, all the grief, all the shame in this book and in this family. The wound doesn't start with Hannah. It just ends it there. That line stops me every time. I also have started the literary fitting, where I provide you a 3-book reading plan to help you through some difficulties, whether it be depression, anxiety, whatever mental health. I will help you, provide you with 3 books that can help you. I have also started the literary fitting, where I provide you a 3-book reading plan to help you through some things like anxiety, grief, depression, pretty much any difficulty that you might experience. I will help you with 3 books that will just help you just a little bit. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I can't help you with any prescriptions, but I think books might offer you a cheaper prescription than your local pharmacy. I help you with these books because I care about every one of my viewers. For that link is in below as well. Before I close, I want you to think about this. No matter if you're a man or a woman, I want you to think about this real quick. Which one of these women hit you the hardest? Was it Sanja, Kanji, Hannah, or any other woman I mentioned? Which of these women hit you the hardest? I want to know, because I think we can all discuss, so we can all feel something relatable to some of these women that I've discussed, comment below because I think we all would like to know which woman hit you the hardest. As mentioned, I started a podcast, the Literary Tailor Podcast. I also talk about Pachinko on that, except instead of the women, I talk about the man. The men in this book also deserve their own episode, and I decided to talk about them on my podcast. So the link for that podcast is below as well, and I suggest you check that out because I'm putting a three-part episode of Pachinko on my podcast, talking about the men, and also specifically Noah and Moza, as they deserve their own episode. Check that out. Hopefully you guys do that. Here is what Min Jin Lee understood that most authors, most writers don't understand. Survival is not the end of a story. Sometimes survival is the beginning. Sometimes survival is what carries the story through generational trauma, through generations. Both of these women in this book, from Sanja all the way to Hannah, they found ways, well, most of them did, found ways to survive. And that's the key word in this I want you guys to take away: survival. These women faced a lot of odds. Sometimes these odds would make a lot of people just quit. These women said no. They looked at this opportunity, despite it being bleak, very bleak at best, and they just found ways to survive. That's the best thing I think I can take away from this amazing book that is Pachinko. I am Zach, and this is the Literary Tailor, where we have great books that inspire better conversations. Until then, guys, happy reading.